1 hour later.
Oh my goodness. Where do I even begin with this? Well, I know how to begin. Howdy, all. I am Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and welcome to this review of Obi-Wan. We have arrived. The circle is now complete because Disney can now destroy the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy, core source material and lore in one fell swoop, because that's what this show is set up to do. Before we get started, though, if you are a Disney Star Wars stan or a rabid SJW, just go ahead and hit the dislike button, leave your bitch-ass whiny comment, and go. Just go. By watching this much, you've already given me my revenue like the good little morons that you are. So just go away. This is not for you because you're going to be triggered. You're going to be fuming and raging at every little word I say because this show is terrible. It is not Star Wars. It is Disney Star Wars on full display. Now, to those of you who are still here, welcome again, one and all. I have done what I promised. I have watched this so you don't have to. We're going to break this down. How are we going to do this today? We're going to give the recap. You're going to get the recap because I don't expect you to watch this. I expect you to watch my review and other takes to get the feel for it. Then we're going to break down the characters. We're going to break down why this isn't Star Wars, why it doesn't feel like Star Wars, why it doesn't even sound like Star Wars. Because the people in charge of this don't understand Star Wars. They see things have happened on a screen or were set offhand, and they're going to pillage it and put it over here and say, okay, it works like this, not understanding that there are rules, and you have broken the rules. You have damaged these characters. You have damaged the Disney-fied version of this. Overall, again, this first episode, and I've only watched the first episode. That's because that's what I'm reviewing in this video. Episode 1. I had to do episode 1. I didn't want to do episode 2. I didn't want them flooding my brain at the same time. I can only piss on one at a time. I cannot divide the stream. One straight shot. Then I'll drink some water, and I'll go take care of the next one afterwards. So expect episode 2 later today, or if you're watching this a few days later, just go right on ahead and keep going. The show is boring. It's sad because it's about sad man Obi-Wan. Leia does make her appearance, as predicted. The Inquisitors are pathetic and dumb and stupid, as predicted. And, well, let's just say the performances. Ewan McGregor, he's a good actor. He gives a performance. It's not Obi-Wan. It's not remotely Obi-Wan, but it's a performance. Bail Organa, played by Jimmy Smits, he's there. He reprises his role. He's okay. And everybody else is kind of new to the scene. The little girl playing Leia, she's good. I have no problem with her performance. I have a problem with the assassination of the character of Leia Organa. And last and certainly least, Moses Ingram's Reva, the third sister Inquisitor. Moses Ingram cannot act. I'm going to say this now, and we'll talk more about it when we get to her section and her character. She cannot act. She's got no range, no delivery, no presence, zero gravitas, zero ability to emote properly, except yell and scream like an angry whammon. And that brings us to the point that while in this first episode, the woke really isn't there per se, the agenda isn't so much in your face, but the intersectionality, which is a part of the equation, it's there. The intersectionality is there on full display. But we've put this off long enough. Without further ado, let's begin dissecting this travesty, shall we?
Master Qui-Gon. Master.
This whole thing begins with member berries. Member berries of the events of the prequel trilogy. Obi-Wan's history with Qui-Gon and Anakin, bunch of flashes mishmashed together, spliced, this and that, to make you feel like this is Star Wars. And that's the whole purpose of member berries, to make you feel, to make you remember the good stuff, the fun stuff, and love them or hate it, the prequel trilogy is still Star Wars. It's not always perfect Star Wars, but it's still Star Wars. Hell, I just watched all 3 of them in preparation for this today. I wanted to be ready. Good and ready. So you get a big montage of the events of the prequel trilogy without even an ounce of John Williams' score. That's right, folks. Disney, who owns it all, can't even be bothered when they're showing you prequel trilogy scenes to surround you in the ambiance that is Star Wars. I'm going to talk more about this later, but I'm letting you know that this is the trend throughout the entire episode. No actual Star Wars music is present. Just the crummy score made by whoever the crummy musician they hired to write it. So after we're done with our little montage, we get the eve of Order 66, the Jedi Temple. And oh, look, some younglings are training. And be very aware, the first character that it centers on. Little black girl youngling. A little human black girl youngling. Oh, that couldn't be Reva, could it? What does a show do when they're setting up their important characters, their central character maybe? Oh, usually the first scene is about them. Order 66 happens, and Reva and other younglings are attacked by clone troopers and their whammon Padawan, who honestly looks silly as she weaves her lightsaber around, killing clone troopers and blocking blaster bolts. Whoever was in charge of this choreography of this, again, as I said in the preamble, they saw some Star Wars stuff and thought, that's how we're going to do it. We're just going to have Jedi wave about and weave about and do wide things and do weird positions as they block blaster bolts and counter with their lightsaber. It looks silly. It looks stupid. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. There's no grace. There's no elegance. Again, whoever they hired for the choreography doesn't get it. So eventually, the Padawan defending Reva and the other younglings, because that's Reva. That is Reva. There's a reason they're centered on her. It's her, because this is going to be her story. Her redemption. They escape, and then as they escape, you see the massacre in the Jedi Temple. Clone troopers all over Padawans and younglings. 10 years later, we arrive at Tatooine. And we start with not Obi-Wan, but the Inquisitors arriving, looking for another Jedi. Remember, they made a big deal about this Jedi who's going to come to Tatooine looking for Obi-Wan or hiding out. This guy's in this for all of 5 minutes total. And, and he's nothing. He's nothing. We'll show you how much of a nothing he is as it goes on. So the Inquisitors come in. Here's our first look at the Grand Inquisitor and his really bad practical effects makeup. It looks silly. He sounds silly. Here comes the Inquisitor squad. We've got, again, there's Reva and there's other Inquisitor Asian dude in makeup. And they proceed to announce, we're here for Jedi, blah, blah, blah. And they start to intimidate the locals and give a grand speech on how Jedi, it's in their nature to help people, and it's also their downfall, and this and that. And right away, you get the feeling that the Grand Inquisitor, he's in control. He's patriarchy in control. And Reva is bristling because her anger is so much. She has to do that, and she has to make action. She starts threatening stuff right away. Well, they quickly flush out the Jedi sitting right there in the cantina. And Reva tries to bully him and physically attack him, but the Grand Inquisitor stops her, saying that we have to do this. We have to do this the right way. We have to get all of them. because then Jedi gets away, and then you get a good look at the Grand Inquisitor. Here I want to make a commentary here, because we're not going to come back to him, because after this scene, he's gone for the episode. Look at his eyes. Those are Sith eyes. Dark Jedi in general, as the canon generally goes, do not develop Sith eyes just because they're using the dark side. Yellow irises is a mark of Sith dark side practices, not just regular dark side use. The Inquisitors are not Sith. They are simply Dark Jedi, according to the Dave Filoni lore, because these are Dave Filoni creations. They were taken from either they were younglings spared from Order 66, because clearly Reva was a spared youngling, or captured Jedi who swore to serve Vader and the Emperor as Inquisitors. They're not Sith. The only two Sith in existence that we know of are Palpatine and Vader. They have Sith eyes because they practice Sith dark side techniques. So again, this is an example of, hi, we saw Anakin had yellow eyes, the Emperor had yellow eyes, so all dark side users are going to have yellow irises. You don't get Star Wars. That's a Sith trait. That's not a dark side user trait. So just reminding you, these people do not understand Star Wars. Here's example number one. Example number two. No, example number two is later. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so the Inquisitors, the Jedi gets away, and Reva gets a talking to, and now they're all angry. Now we cut to, finally, the title character, Sad Man Obi-Wan. We're going to call him Sad Man Obi-Wan because that's what he is. Sad Man Obi-Wan, because now Obi-Wan is a day laborer at some giant dead beast butcher shop, making probably barely minimum wage, and they give you the show as some guy complains about his wages, and the bully overboss is like, you want me to take it all? And Obi-Wan just stands there and lets it happen because, oh, he's a Jedi. But he's not a Jedi. He's not the man he was. He's Sad Man Obi-Wan. So we get this scene of Obi-Wan's routine. He takes a little piece of extra food for himself in his mount, and then he goes home to his sad Obi-Wan cave, where he's got a little device that tells him if anybody's in there. And then he makes his dinner and he eats it while looking out at the Dune Sea. But then he gets visited by a Jawa who just has chatting with him. And I'll give them a little credit here. They ditched the furry-handed Jawas. The Jawas just wearing gloves. So, point for Disney. At least you ditch that stupidity. No furry-handed Jawas. That's really so bad. It's all so bad. Anyway, so now we get a conversation between Sad Man Obi-Wan and the Jawa, whose name I don't even remember, as Obi-Wan berates him for stealing his junk and selling it back to him. And here's some forced humor. If you're going to steal my junk and sell it back to me, then at least clean it up. Cleaning up is extra. Ha ha ha! But what Obi-Wan does buy, and here it is, he buys, that's a familiar little item there, a little starship model. Oh, we've seen this before. Member berries!
I've got such a bad case of dust contamination I can barely move.
It just isn't fair.
Member berries, yes, that's Luke's little favorite toy, basically, that up until he's 18 years old, he likes to play with. Obi-Wan bought it for him. Isn't that sweet, guys? Look, connections to the original trilogy. Aren't you happy to see that, you nerds? Anyway, back on track. Obi-Wan goes to sleep, and then we have the clip that I showed at the beginning of this segment. He wakes up after having nightmares again. So apparently for 10 years, all he does is his sad routine. He goes to work, he comes home, he has lunch, maybe he'll talk with the Jawa, and then he'll go to sleep and he'll have nightmares. Even in the intro, they said that he's supposed to be training to reach out to Qui-Gon, and his training right now consists of waking up after a nightmare and going, Master Qui-Gon? Master? In sad Obi-Wan fashion. So Sad Man Obi-Wan clearly has nightmares all the time and wakes up and calls out for Qui-Gon. That's the extent of his training. No, maybe, how about we show Obi-Wan meditating, biding his time, waiting, keeping fit. Not just Sad Man Obi-Wan going through his routines, because his routine then is to go out to the Lars homestead and watch. As we saw in the trailer, he watches, and there's Luke. He ditches out on work, and everybody's looking for him for 2 seconds. I mean, really, you couldn't find him. He only went 10 yards. And there he is, sitting on the part of the house, pretending he's on a speeder or in a starship. And again, I'm going to note this because everybody else has. The kid has dark hair. Luke is blonde. Wrong? And I'm sure the kid's going to come back later in the series because if certain leaks are true, he's going to be back. So again, miscast there. So Obi-Wan watches, waits till nightfall, and leaves the ship present for Luke. Just leaves it there. Oh, isn't that sweet? Isn't that nice? All right, so now we cut back to the next day. Excuse me. And Obi-Wan... Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. No. Now we cut to evening. Obi-Wan's on his way back, and the on-the-run Jedi appears and tries to say, Master, is that you? And Obi-Wan tries to pretend it isn't, but the guy's like, no, Master, I need you. I'm here. We have to rally. He's like, and Obi-Wan basically gives his whole defeatist speech. Oh, it's over. We're done. We lost the fight. But we have to keep fighting. Just go. Bury your lightsaber in the sand. Remember that. Go bury your lightsaber in the sand and go live a normal life. Where's the hope? Where's the hope? And I know, he's going to have hope again by the end of the series, Adam. You angry, toxic nerd. No, he should have hope at the beginning of the series. But it should be hope tinged with a little bit of introspection and regret. But not this sad man, sad sack Obi-Wan that we see. So the other Jedi runs off, and next time we see him, he'll be dead. Because now scene cut. Right away, you can recognize the imagery. It's Alderaan. Welcome to Alderaan, because we need to leave Tatooine. We have to leave Tatooine. We have to go to another familiar locale in this small galaxy far, far away in Disney Star Wars. It's Alderaan, and it's time for little girl Leia. Little girl Leia, because this show needs little girl Leia, doesn't it? We need little girl Leia instead of little boy Luke. Intersectionality, folks. Here we go. It begins with what looks like Leia getting all decked out for something fancy, but it's really one of her little friends who is taking the place because Leia's a tomboy, guys. Leia's a rambunctious tomboy who likes to ditch out on her princess duties and go play in the woods or hang out in the kitchens and do stuff. She's a girl of the people. She's regular, fellas. Oh, and here cuts to Leia happily running through the forest with her little droid, and she's so happy. And again, I'm going to say this, said before, I got no problem with the little girl actress here. She does a fine job. She gives an actual performance. She's a nice little actress. She delivers well. She emotes well. She has a little bit of a presence on screen, and she's likable. She's likable. I give her credit. As an actress, she's likable. But she's not Leia, because this isn't Leia we're getting here. This is Disney Leia. This is Leia being pushed forward more than Luke, but we'll come back to that later. So Leia likes to play in the woods. She climbs a tree like a little spider monkey and sits with her little droid called Lola, I think it was, imagining what it's like to be on the ships that are leaving Alderaan. Oh, they're chasing pirates. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they're doing... So remember, Luke is the one that looked away to the future. No, so does Leia. Leia looks away to the future. Well, finally, her mother, her adopted mother, because we know she's not really an Organa, but that's a point they're going to make, finds her out there and brings her back, gets her all dressed up, and Leia's like, why do I have to do this? All I do is wave, and it's not fun, and it's not good, and blah, 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 but it's part of your duty. So she gets scooped up, and they begin there, because they're apparently a family. Organa family is coming to visit, and they need to make a good impression. Now we cut back to Tatooine. It's the next day after Obi-Wan has left his present at the Lars homestead, and Obi-Wan is going through his routine. He goes to work. He steals a little piece of meat. He comes back on the transport to what I assume is Anchorhead. I'm assuming it's Anchorhead. Nobody says it. It's Anchorhead. It's got to be Anchorhead because that's the nearest settlement to the Lars homestead. But there he's confronted by Owen Lars, who throws the broken toy at his feet. Of course, the toy's going to be repaired and given back because clearly, as I showed you before, that's the same model that Luke is playing with in A New Hope. And then we get the whole dress down of, you failed Anakin, I'm not going to let you fail him. And we get basically sad man Obi-Wan being browbeaten by Owen Lars. But, let's not end the scene right there. Here come the Inquisitors. Here comes Reva and Asian Inquisitor guy who doesn't have a name as far as I know yet. I haven't seen it. They didn't mention it. If they did mention it, it went over my head because I was raging the whole time. Reva now begin to yell at everybody, or the Asian guy's nice and calm, but Reva just starts to yell and immediately act out of control. Or as I showed you in the clip earlier, she starts to threaten Owen Lars. And here again is the bad storytelling. Why are you doing this? Also the failure of prequel storytelling. Owen Lars, nothing's going to happen to Owen Lars. He doesn't die till A New Hope. So why are you going through this whole charade of having Reva threaten Owen Lars and his family? Which is what she does with lightsaber and everything. Putting a lightsaber in his face because that's not threatening. That's what a dark Jedi would do. That's what a Sith would do, but they're not Sith. They're barely dark Jedi. So they go through this whole thing, and Owen Lars says, I hate Jedi. They're vermin. I kill vermin on my farm. And she's like, blah, 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 you're vermin. Blah, blah. And then, she cuts off a woman's hand at one point. It's these pointless displays of, look, she's bad, guys. She's bad. It's all the setup for her eventual redemption. Yeah, that's what this is. It's all the setup. And now we begin to learn, as we learned earlier in the episode, that she's got a hard-on to find Obi-Wan. She doesn't like hunting down the Dreg Jedis that are left. She wants the big fish. Because after this whole display, Asian Inquisitor guy tells her, you're reckless. The Grand Inquisitor is right. You have an obsession with Obi-Wan. And she just says, we have to be hunting him. He must be found. And blah, 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 blah. And it's like, maybe you're wrong in the way you're doing things. And blah, blah, blah. I mean, intersectionality on display. We'll talk more about that when we get to her section. Anyway, let's see. What's next? All right, so now we're back on Alderaan. And excuse me. It's the reception for the Organa the Organa family visitors, and Leia's all decked out, and she greets the children that come, and they talk down to her. And then we are at the reception itself, and Bail is trying to be Bail. He's the senator trying to promote more freedoms in the Empire. And his cousin is like, oh, well, hey, don't preach to me. Go preach in the Senate. I'm just here to eat your food. And then we cut to Leia at the kids' table, essentially. And her cousin starts to berate her. You're not a real Organa. You're fake. They keep you here. What's the matter with you? They don't want you in public, blah, blah, blah. And then Leia takes a deep breath. And again, the little girl gives a good performance, but the whole situation is just intersectionality. Look how strong Leia is as she stands up to her cousin and gives him what for. It's boring because we understand what this is. It's just highlighting how great Leia is. But Leia doesn't need to be highlighted, because then we cut later to Bail and his wife trying to tell Leia, you can't act out like that. You have to be right. And then Bail, being a good father, good dad Bail, we give them that. It's good dad Bail Organa. He tells her that she's gonna do great things, and she's gonna do great things because she's so strong. And affirmation. Again, why are we doing this to Leia? But I'll get into that later. I gotta finish the recap. Finish the recap, Adam. Stay on target. So he tells Leia, meet me downstairs later. But of course, Leia decides to run away again, go play in the forest. And earlier on, I forgot to mention, there was a shot of a man watching her, and here comes the man. It's I don't know if it's a bounty hunter, whatever. Leia gets kidnapped in a nice little frenetic scene. Leia gets kidnapped again. Why are you even doing any of this? No harm is going to come to Leia. She has 3 movies ahead of her. Why are you doing this? Oh, for plot reasons. Because Leia has to be kidnapped in order to flush out Obi-Wan. Because Reva's obsessed with Obi-Wan. This is a Reva plan. Obi-Wan comes home from his routine again. We see his routine for the third time in the episode. And he comes home and he hears a beeping. It's Bail and his wife. Leia's been kidnapped. We need your help. I can't do it. I'm not the man I was, but we need you. Sorry. Find someone else. Get a bounty hunter. Boop. Again, we get the kidnappers with Leia on the ship, and she's being strong Leia, being strong mouthy Leia, and they tie her up and they put her in a holding cell. And we cut back again to sad Obi-Wan coming home. Except this time there's somebody there. His alert beacon is there, and it's Bail. Duh, you can see that coming a mile away. And now they have their conversation. You have to help her. You're the only one, but I can't. I have to look after the boy. No, it's not about the boy. It's about you being afraid. You need to man up, Obi-Wan. We all made mistakes. It's time to let the past go. And I'm going to come back to that. Sound familiar? So Bail dresses down Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan relents eventually. He obviously relents, keeps complaining, I'm not the man I was. And then we get a vision, and then we get a scene of final scenes. Obi-Wan in the desert. Starts digging. Leia being mouthy to the kidnappers on the ship. Back to Obi-Wan. Digging up. Oh, look, it's a container. Oh, what's in it? His old lightsaber and Anakin's lightsaber. Yes, Anakin's lightsaber, not the Skywalker lightsaber. Anakin's lightsaber, you freaking tards. And then cut back to the bounty hunters. Some of them aren't happy about, no, I'm sorry, the kidnappers. Not happy about this, but then here comes Reva. Reva says, oh, Obi-Wan will trap himself. He was Bail Organa's friend. He'll come out of hiding and then we'll get him. And then Obi-Wan is back in Anchorhead heading to a transport. And he shows off his lightsaber as he leaves. Because we just left town a little while ago where he saw the dead Jedi that came to find him hanging there. The Inquisitors didn't do that. The people of Anchorhead did that. So, how stupid is it to, as you're going, to belt your freaking lightsaber on where anybody might see it if you move your jacket? Really? Really? No thought. No thought from one scene to the other. And there it is. That's episode. Obi-Wan is on. He's leaving Tatooine. They couldn't even keep him on Tatooine for past the first episode. Obi-Wan is off to save Leia. All right. Let's break this down, shall we? There is nothing whatsoever truly reminiscent of actual Star Wars in this show. The story is just one plot device after another to generate the end result that these crap writers want. The character development is done purely to make Obi-Wan look bad and make other characters look good, and to clearly set the stage for the natural agenda that these crap writers want to put forward. The visuals are terrible. I showed you in that clip right there. That clip shows a lot of what's wrong with this episode visually, audibly, and pacing-wise. Deborah Chow sucks as a director, guys. You can defend her all you want. She's terrible. The camera is shaking a lot in this episode. The camera shakes a lot, and it's really annoying. The pacing is all over the place. The scene, and most of the time it's boring. Seeing sad Obi-Wan go through his routine multiple times. Oh yeah, but you have to see that he's dejected and he's stuck in his rut. All you gotta do is show it once. And a good show versus tell would get it across. You don't need to keep showing it. There is such a thing as too much show. The soundtrack. Disney owns everything Star Wars. That includes all the scores to all the original movies. OT and PT. John Williams is the greatest of all time. He is the GOAT when it comes to scoring a movie. He is number one. Not a single note of his brilliance is heard in this show. I told you earlier, we have the montage in the beginning where they don't use a single iconic score, piece, track from the sequel trilogy for all those scenes. Not a one. Throughout this show, at moments where you could have had a couple of classic themes come in, not a one. No John Williams music is present in this show, and that destroys the feeling of Star Wars, because as I've said several times in the recent weeks, part of the magic of Star Wars is the music. It elevates the scenes. It makes the scenes memorable. You remember them. They're etched into your mind. Duel of the Fates, the Imperial March, and every time it happens, the Battle of Hoth, the Battle of Yavin 4, the Battle of Endor, Luke versus Vader every time, Han Solo and Leia's theme, Luke and Leia's theme, Return of Jedi, Leia's theme itself. They don't even play Leia's theme in this. She is present in this show and they don't play her theme. How wrong is that? How derelict is that? They're derelict in their duty. It is Leia Organa. You've inserted her into this show as a plot device. You're not even going to use her theme. Wow. Just wow. So there's nothing there. Now, why did they do this? Two reasons, I think. One, Disney's cheap and they don't want to pay John Williams royalties. They don't want to pay him any royalties. Two, they want to kill the past, let it die. Bail Organa says as much in a speech to Obi-Wan, which we'll cover in the Obi-Wan's character breakdown. Kill the past, let it die. They don't want any real connections to the background. They'll throw member berries out there, but they're member berries to fool you, not to make you really want to watch the original stuff. They want you to watch this. They want you to watch Disney Star Wars. So I've mentioned Leia. Let's start with Leia when it comes to the character breakdowns.
You're scared of him. Your father. You want him to like you, so you repeat what he says, even though you don't really know what it means. You think being like him will make people frightened of you, but really, you're the one who's scared.
Leia Organa. She doesn't belong in this show. She doesn't belong in anything other than when we see her in A New Hope. But they introduced her as a plot device, purely for both their intersectional SJW agenda, but also to diminish other characters. Now, again, the little girl who portrays little girl Leia in this, she's fine. There's nothing wrong. Her performance is actually well done. She has range. She can emote. I connect to her. Even though I don't like what I'm seeing, I still connect to her as the character there because she does a good job. But, as I said, Leia shouldn't be here. Because Leia's whole story right now is two things. It's, I'm strong, confident little girl Leia. Nobody tells me what to do. I have my own thoughts and feelings on things. And I am more mature for my age than I should be. At the same time, you have her dealing with a sudden storyline that's clearly they introduced this, that she feels like she's not an Organa. Breaking the lore. Breaking the lore. Until the revelation of Return of the Jedi, Leia believes she is an Organa. She never thought once that she wasn't an Organa. Even though she said, somehow I've always known that Luke was her brother since they met, but that's when they meet, and it's something that's different. That's a little Force sense. But as she's a child, there should be no doubt she's an Organa. Yes, is it proper to think that Bale was doing everything to keep her out of the limelight because she's actually a Skywalker? Yeah, that's an acceptable line of story thought. But to have her be browbeaten that you're not an Organa just to set it up that first she can be strong and brave and tell somebody off who's older than her, then to have worries that she's not an Organa, only then to be set up to be affirmed that she's great and strong, you're destroying Leia completely in this. Because Leia is an existing character. She has her story in the OT, and when you go on to the expanded universe, it gets even better. Leia is there. She's a living, breathing character. Inserting this stuff in here only complicates and makes it difficult later on, because that's what Disney's very good at, retconning character origins to fit their narratives. As I said, this is all done for intersectionalism, to make Leia look better, to make Leia look better than Luke. We saw Luke for 1 second here in this goofing off, thinking about the future. Well, Leia also thinks about the future, but then she does her duty, and then she can stand up to people. I'm sure later on when we see Luke in this, if the certain leaks are true, that he's not going to be as powerful and strong-willed as Leia. I can almost guarantee it. I might be wrong. I might be proven wrong. And if I am, well, then I'll say I was wrong when I said it in this video. But as of right now, Leia is being presented as the chosen one, a better chosen one than Luke. And that's part of the deal in this. Because remember, Disney is all about diminishing Luke Skywalker, turning him into Jake Skywalker. So Leia is put in this purely as a plot device, also to bring down Obi-Wan. And we'll talk about that again more when I get to the Obi-Wan section. She's here to diminish Obi-Wan, she's used to diminish Obi-Wan in this first episode. She herself doesn't do it. In fact, she'll probably play the role of, "Oh, Obi-Wan, you had the power all along to be great again." Even though he'll be called something else when they interact, because they never actually come face to face in the original trilogy. Obi-Wan should never have met her again, ever. But we'll deal with that. It's going to come down in episode 2. I haven't seen episode 2 yet. This is still episode 1. I have yet to watch it today. Oh, Lord. 2 in 1 day. All right, let's talk about Reva, shall we?
Wife? Kids?
My family's of no concern to
They
you.
might be. You got a Jedi on that farm, too?
1 episode in, and I already hate this character. They clearly wanted to set it up that, oh, look, Reva's a youngling who survived Order 66. You should instantly feel connected to her. That she had this lifestyle of an Inquisitor forced on her. She was once a youngling with good light side potential. She could have been a great Jedi. No. I don't feel anything. Because she's insufferable already. And it doesn't help with the fact that Moses Ingram is not a good actress. She has 0 range, 0 ability to properly emote. She can make a few ugly faces, but that's about it, and they look goofy.
You are reckless.
Watch he's after scraps.
Scraps are all we have left.
Then we should be hunting bigger prey.
He is not yours to find. We are past this, third sister. I will not warn you again.
She has no range, no gravitas, and she talks like she's walked off the street here in the 21st century.
You are too impulsive.
I'm sick of wasting time. This place is beneath us.
I'm sorry. This is supposed to be Star Wars. People are supposed to have certain diction, certain presence. Not supposed to talk like you walked off the street in the 21st century. And the character is completely unlikable because she acts like a girl boss. I know better than everybody. My way is going to be the right way. You're all doing it wrong. Oh, look at my grand plan. I'm the one that's going to draw at Obi-Wan. Because there it is. The first diminishing attack at Obi-Wan from this character. I'm the one that outsmarted Obi-Wan and got him to break cover. For 10 years, you people couldn't do it. I did it. I'm the one. It's my idea. F your idea. F you. You're a terrible character. You're insufferable already. But it's all being done because she's going to get her face turned in the end. We can almost all predict it. We have predicted it. And until we're proven wrong, we're going to keep saying it. Everything she's going to do in this is going to be partly to diminish Obi-Wan, to make him look bad, to make her look superior, and have her do the eventual heroic things, because she'll find her way back to the youngling and the Padawan she once was. The path she could have taken, if not corrupted by the evil patriarchy of the Empire. Reva is terrible. She's only probably going to get worse. And all Moses Ingram does is yell and scream and pout and act angry. And it doesn't do it very well. So this character sucks. And it's not because she's black. It's because the character sucks and the actress doesn't have any talent. Plain and simple. All right, let's... Time for Obi-Wan. Time for sad, bad Obi-Wan.
I'm not the man you remember.
Well, you're going to have to be.
I can't leave the boy.
This isn't about the boy, and you know it. You've made mistakes. We all did. It's the past. Move on. Be done with it.
Sad man Obi-Wan. He had one job. Look over Luke. Keep an eye on Luke. Make sure he lives. Make sure he doesn't fall in a ditch, attacked by sand people. Do something stupid in a speeder as he gets older. One job. Keep an eye on Luke. That was his job. Keeping an eye on Leia was other people's job. And also, not to be a depressed, sad sack, because that's what we have here. A depressed, sad sack Obi-Wan. And it's not entertaining. It's not fun. There's no connection with this. Obi-Wan has a right to be upset. He has a right to be introspective, and he's a right to be angry with himself. But he is a Jedi. He's still a Jedi. And he had a mission, a duty here. First, watch Luke. Second, learn to commune with Force ghosts, and therefore also learn to become a Force ghost when it's his time to rejoin the living Force. Not to have nightmares all the time and wake up in the middle of the night and cry out for Qui-Gon Jinn. You should be meditating, training. All we get is Obi-Wan is routine. Look how sad he is. Obi-Wan is a routine. Look how sad he is. Obi-Wan getting browbeaten by Owen Lars. Obi-Wan getting schooled by some unknown Jedi who tries to tell him we still have to fight, and say, no, there's no fight left to have. This is not Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not even Ben Kenobi. We meet Ben Kenobi in A New Hope, who then becomes Obi-Wan again when they leave Tatooine. This is nobody. This is a sad sack. This isn't fun, like I said. This isn't how you tell the story of a man who's reached rock bottom and rebuilds himself. As I said, Obi-Wan has a right to be upset with himself, but he's still a Jedi. He should be introspective. There should be a real struggle between wanting to still be a guardian of peace and justice, but to keep a low profile. Why are you having a day job as a butcher when anybody clearly, dude saw him and recognized him? You should keep an even lower profile than that. None of this makes any sense. From the character of Obi-Wan to even common sense is trying to stay out of hiding. What we have here, again, are people who do not understand Star Wars, do not understand the characters that they have been tasked with writing. And even someone who has portrayed Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, has forgotten what Obi-Wan is. To be okay with this, to be sad sack, sad man Obi-Wan, and not say, are you sure we should be doing this? Why can't I be meditative? Why can't I be a little more contemplative instead of just sad sack? But no. We have to grind him into the ground. We have to make him look pathetic, because that's our idea of how coming back from the bottom is, making somebody look absolutely pathetic, and then having a bunch of what it looks like whammon build him back up, because Obi-Wan's going to come in contact with Leia, and she's probably going to give him a boost of character. And in the end, Reva's probably going to do the heroic stuff that reminds Obi-Wan what it's like to be a great Jedi again. This is pathetic and sad, and it's boring. It's not fun. Nobody's enjoying this. Nobody wants this Obi-Wan. But then again, it's all about breaking it down. To have Bail Organa walk in there and tell him to forget the past, let it die, move on. That's Disney telling us to move on. Don't remember old Obi-Wan. This is the Obi-Wan we want you to know. To have Bail Organa actually say, Leia is just as important as Luke. Well, then why didn't you have security around her all the time? How is it a little 10-year-old girl can constantly slip out of your palace and go wandering in the woods? It was not Obi-Wan's job to watch her. It was your job, Bail Organa. But no, we need a plot device to show that Reva is so brilliant and to get Obi-Wan off planet. And here we go at the end. Obi-Wan is leaving Tatooine, which he should never do. Shouldn't leave Tatooine. You don't do that. You stay on the planet, you watch over Luke, you meditate, you come to terms with yourself. Obi-Wan should be able to come to terms with his failures on his own. He shouldn't need someone else to guide him back to being a great Jedi again. But that's the failure of Disney Star Wars. Bad retconning of characters without understanding who the characters are to begin with. I mean, clearly, he sees a dead Jedi hung up by the citizens of Anchorhead because the Inquisitors are gone. You don't want to attract attention? Well, then maybe don't clip your goddamn lightsaber to your belt as you're leaving town, where if one wrong move of fabric can reveal it to the world that are hunting Jedi. Disconnect. No understanding, no common sense, both in the writers or there, which translates to the character. This is not Obi-Wan. This isn't even Ben Kenobi. This is some sad sack fake who I don't recognize.
You sure he's gonna come?
He fought beside her father during the war. He'll come. He won't be able to help it. The Jedi will hunt himself.
Here we are at the end of episode 1, and Obi-Wan is leaving Tatooine because girl boss Reva has concocted a plan, kidnapped Leia, who exists as a plot device both to be diminishing to Luke, but also to serve as a bolster to Obi-Wan, as we're probably going to see, where she'll give him encouraging words to make him feel good about himself again. And it'll make Obi-Wan feel good again that he did something. Well, you know you should be doing? Staying on goddamn Tatooine. This also, it goes without saying, it also diminishes Bail Organa, who can come here with a self-righteous speech to Obi-Wan, yet he failed utterly to protect a Skywalker. He failed, but he's going to come to Obi-Wan and beat him down and blame him for not being there to help them. This is your failure, Bail. So I just realized in saying this, they're not only diminishing Obi-Wan, they're diminishing Bail Organa. All the male characters are going to be diminished in this. I predict Vader's going to get cucked hard. I don't know how, but he's going to get cucked hard. I believe it's going to happen at this point. I feel like it's going to happen. This show is already a disaster. I've showed you. No actual Star Wars music to make it feel like Star Wars, even though Disney owns it all. But no, then you'd have to pay royalties to John Williams, wouldn't you? Characters who've existed behaving out of character. Things are happening simply to move the plot. Leia's existence in this show is simply to move the plot, but to break the lore. Leia shouldn't have questions about her heritage at this point in her life. That's not a revelation until Return of the Jedi. Obi-Wan should have been able to come to terms with his failures on his own, not need others to now, as we're going to see, bring him back to the great Jedi that he once was. This is sad and pathetic across all fronts. And it's also production poorly done, because the acting, for the most part, is pretty bland. Yes, Ewan McGregor gives a good performance. Little girl Leia, that little actress, she gives a good performance. Jimmy Smits is Jimmy Smits, he gives a good performance. Everybody else, especially Moses Ingram, she is a bad actress. Can't say that enough. There's nothing good about her performance of Reva, and Reva happens to be a terrible character already, who we already know or can easily predict, is going to do a face turn and make Obi-Wan look like he's the loser, and she was always going to be the great and powerful Jedi that should have been. And she'll have a heroic death, probably at the hands of Vader. Who knows? We'll see. Either way, this show is off to a horrible start. And I feel like it's probably only going to get worse because it doesn't feel or look like Star Wars. And Deborah Chow is a horrible director. Shaky camera. Shaky camera. All right. We're done here. I'm going to take a break at this time of day and eat some lunch. And then I got to get to episode 2. So I will see you guys at episode 2. May the Force be with you. May the Force be with me. May it give me strength to get through all this. Now, everybody, take it easy. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach out to me at therentnerd@gmail.com. That email's for channel business only, so I check it on a daily basis. Also, you can find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can find me at Rumble and Odyssey, The Renaissance Nerd. Thank you again. See you next time.